Hello, this is Mark Satterfield, and welcome to the Velvet Rope Playbook. Tonight's chapter, the $900 haircut. A client of mine once spent $900 on a haircut. When I asked him why, he said, "Because I don't want a haircut, I want confidence walking into any room." That line stuck with me because it perfectly captures what separates people who sell to the wealthy from those who serve the wealthy. The first group focuses on features, square footage, yield percentages, deliverables, dashboards. The second group understands that the affluent aren't buying the service, they're buying the sensation the service provides: confidence, certainty, permission to relax. Let's be honest, $900 for a haircut sounds ridiculous to most everybody. But for him, it wasn't about the cut. It was about the calm, the sense that he looked exactly how he wanted to look, the invisible edge that made him feel untouchable when he walked into a room full of competitors. That's the real transaction behind almost every affluent purchase. They're not buying the car, they're buying the feeling of control. They're not buying the property, they're buying peace. They're not buying the consultant, they're buying clarity. And when you understand that, your business stops being transactional and starts being transformational. The wealthy don't do commodities, they do confidence. And confidence doesn't shout, it doesn't need to. It's the quiet poise of someone who knows they made the right choice before they even signed the check. That's what your service should deliver. Not more information, not more options, just more assurance. Affluent clients don't want to be overwhelmed. They want to be oriented. The best professionals understand this instinctively. Their marketing doesn't scream, "Look at me." It whispers, "You're safe here." If you can make a wealthy client feel that you can charge $900 for the haircut or $90,000 for the strategy, that's the core lesson I teach at getwealthyclients.com. How to transform what you sell into what the affluent actually buy. You'll find programs and books that help you reframe your service from "here's what I do" to "here's how you'll feel after working with me." Because at the top end of the market, emotion beats explanation every time. People assume the rich pay more for quality, and that's not quite true. They pay more to avoid doubt. That's the unspoken reason behind every luxury price tag. It's not about the product, it's about the promise that someone else has already filtered the options, made the decisions, and handled the details. Affluent buyers don't want to research, they want to trust. That's why luxury brands and the best advisors understand that certainty is the ultimate premium product. If you can remove uncertainty from their world, you'll never need to sell again. Now, most professionals misunderstand what value looks like to the wealthy. They think it's about proving expertise, demonstrating how smart, thorough, or experienced they are. So they bury clients in white papers, market data, or 10-step processes. But for affluent clients, all that proof has the opposite effect. It creates friction. When you give them more to analyze, you make them work. And the truly wealthy don't pay to work, they pay to relax. When you work with affluent clients, your job isn't to impress, it's to ease. That's why the man happily paid $900 for a haircut. He wasn't buying scissors, he was buying silence. A world where he could stop making decisions for 30 minutes and simply be taken care of. Now, here's a secret. Confidence is one of the few things money can't directly buy. You can't purchase it, but you can rent it from you. When you project calm assurance, when you exude the quiet authority of someone who knows the outcome before it happens, clients absorb it. They mirror it. That's why confidence isn't just your best sales tool, it's your most profitable product. It's why the top performing professionals in real estate, financial services, and consulting all have an aura about them. They're not hustling, they're grounded. And that groundedness is intoxicating to people who live in a constant state of noise. So if you want to attract more high net worth clients, focus less on convincing and more on composure. The affluent don't chase energy, they chase equilibrium, which is why the reason most professionals get commoditized is simple. They're selling the wrong thing. They talk about features, deliverables, and timeframes, the haircut. But the wealthy aren't buying the haircut. They're buying the feeling after the haircut. When your marketing revolves around function, you compete on price. When it revolves around confidence, you compete on perception. So here's a small but powerful shift. Stop describing what you do and start describing what your clients feel when you're done. Instead of saying, I help manage complex portfolios, say, I make wealth feel effortless. Instead of, I sell homes in elite neighborhoods, say, I help families find peace behind the gates. Instead of, I help consultants attract better clients, say, I make your brand feel inevitable. That's not fluff, that's framing. And framing is the art form of affluent persuasion. Look, every industry has its $900 haircut. The advisor who charges 10 times the going rate because they give clarity, not confusion. The consultant who's booked months in advance because every meeting ends with direction, not data. The real estate agent who never discounts because her listings feel like confidence wrapped in stone and glass. That's what the affluent are buying: certainty, serenity, status through stability. If your service delivers that, you can command any price because your clients aren't calculating ROI, they're calculating relief. They're asking, will this make my life simpler, smoother, more certain? If the answer is yes, cost becomes irrelevant. The moment you understand that your true product is confidence, you also realize something else. You have to embody it before you can sell it. Clients don't buy what you say, they buy what they sense. You can't preach calm while radiating anxiety. You can't talk about exclusivity while begging for business. You teach people how to value you by how you carry yourself. The $900 haircut wasn't about hair. It was about posture, presentation, the way he looked at himself in the mirror afterwards and thought, I'm ready. That's what your clients want, to feel ready. If your work helps them do that, you'll always be in demand. If it doesn't, you're just another service provider trimming the edges. Luxury used to mean gold, marble, and excess. Today it means something quieter: assurance. Knowing that whatever happens, someone capable has it handled. That's where your most valuable skill isn't strategy, it's steadiness. When the world is chaotic, the affluent gravitate towards the calmest person in the room. That's who you need to be. Not the one pitching louder, but the one whose presence makes everyone else relax. Because the moment your clients feel that, they stop comparing you to anyone else. They've found their person. And when you become that person, your price becomes a reflection of confidence, not cost. If you want to learn how to reposition your business that way to make your service feel like certainty itself, go to getwealthyclients.com. And when you're there, you'll find my best selling book, The Affluent Marketing Blueprint. It's free for a limited time, and advanced programs on affluent psychology, high ticket positioning, and exclusivity marketing. They'll show you how to transform what you already do into something the wealthy can't resist: peace of mind, beautifully packaged. When my client told me he paid $900 for a haircut, frankly, I laughed at first. Then I realized he wasn't buying a haircut at all. He was buying that moment afterwards, the confidence to walk into a room without thinking twice about how he looked. That's what we all want in some form or another. And that's what your affluent clients want too. Not the service, not the data, not the presentation, just the feeling that they made the right choice. Give them that, and you'll never have to justify your price again. Because the real product isn't what you do, it's how they feel when you're done. And if your client leaves your office, your call, or your showing feeling like the person who just walked out of that $900 salon chair, taller, calmer, certain, then congratulations. You're not selling a service anymore. You're selling confidence. And that, my friend, is priceless. This is Mark Satterfield. Thanks for listening to this chapter of the Velvet Rope Playbook. I'll be back at you soon with something new. But until then, bye for now.